Hey, what's going on? Navid Moaz is here, and in this session, we are going to talk about how to create a quiz funnel that grows your email list very quickly. And if you're new to the channel, I help people just like you build your dream online business and lifestyle. And how I accomplished this was to build my most important asset. I built up my audience. I'm talking about the email list, right? You want to build your email list so you can serve your audience and monetize that audience as well. And how I did this was to host virtual summits, and I talk a lot about that here on the channel and on my website. But another strategy I have kind of dabbled into it a little bit is quiz funnels, to create your own online quiz. And I have the best person in the world when it comes to this incredibly powerful lead generation strategy. His name is Ryan Levesque. He's the CEO and founder of the Ask Method company, and he's the best-selling author of the book Ask. And he has also another book called Choose, which is really, really amazing books there. I've read both of them and been part of his community for a while. I've been a student of Ryan's material for a long time, been in his mastermind, studied his Ask Method Masterclass program, implemented this in my business. But now you're gonna talk more about the power of quiz funnels. And he has actually a really amazing workshop coming up. So I do recommend you go to navid.me/quiz funnel. He hosts this once a year or so. So depending on when you're watching this, you can go there and sign up, either now or later during this session, because we are going to dive into some amazing value here throughout this session as well, like what is a quiz funnel, how you can structure it, a lot of examples coming up, how to create your quiz funnel, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna go into that, also how you drive traffic to your quiz. So Ryan is gonna dive into all of that during this session. So really excited to learn more about this, because I'm gonna implement this, as I said, for my virtual site mastery program and also for affiliate marketing and stuff like that I'm doing in my business. So there's some really cool stuff coming up. I'm learning from Ryan and his team how to do this. And I obviously suggest you do the same here throughout this session, and then go to navid.me/quiz funnel to get access to his free quiz funnel workshop, which he hosts once per year. And you get some more resources, freebies and blueprints and templates and stuff like that over there. But with that being said, Ryan, warm welcome to the session here.
Navid, it's awesome to be here. It's always great to talk with you, my friend.
Absolutely. So, as we get in here to the session, I'm sure, people might have seen quizzes all around there, like all over the web these days. At least you have probably taken a quiz if you're watching this here. So, Ryan, what is really a quiz funnel, at least the way you see it?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And, a quiz funnel is not just a quiz. And I think that's an important distinction. So what is a quiz funnel exactly? Well, imagine when someone lands on your website, instead of selling your product right away or even asking them to opt into your email list for a free report or a lead magnet, you instead begin by asking a series of questions to better understand their situation, to get to know them a little bit more. And then based on that information, you're either directing them to the best offer, the best product for them if you sell multiple products, or you are talking about your one main product or service in a slightly different way based on their situation. And so when you do this, it allows you to customize things like your sales copy, customize things like your videos, maybe the testimonials or case studies or examples that you're introducing to someone, so that when they see your offer, whether it's a paid offer or a free download, they're saying, oh my gosh, this is exactly right for me. And there are all sorts of big benefits behind why a quiz funnel is so effective, especially if you're looking to build your email list and you're starting completely from scratch.
So Ryan, what's some benefits of quiz funnels, and why people should even consider creating one?
Yeah, so there are 5 big reasons that I like to focus in on. And the first big reason why quiz funnels are so effective comes down to incredibly cheap leads. Oftentimes, you're able to reduce your cost per lead by anywhere from 30% to 90%, meaning if you're paying like $2.50 to get an email subscriber on your email list, you can often take that down to less than 50 cents per lead on the back of a quiz funnel. And I'll give you an example of this. So Mastin Kipp, he is in the peak performance market, and he took his cost per lead from $6 to less than 76 cents per lead on the back of his quiz funnel. Sean Penrod comes to mind. He's in the marathon running market. He helps marathon runners. He took his cost per lead from $2.59 to 23 cents per lead. And Beryl Young, she's in the photography market. She took her cost per lead from $1.64 to less than 14 cents per lead, all by switching to a quiz funnel. So incredibly cheap leads is sort of reason number one. Reason number two, incredibly high volume. are often able to explode the growth of their email list and audience anywhere from 10x to 80x based on a quiz funnel. And I'll give you an example of this. So Luis Carlos and Gabby are in the parent, and his wife Gabby are in the parenting market, and they operate in the Spanish-speaking world. So they help parents in the Spanish-speaking world. And they launched a quiz funnel, and it was what's your parenting style? So take this quiz to find out what your parenting style is. And they launched this quiz, and they did so right in the middle of COVID-19. So if you remember when COVID-19, when it was sort of all happening, they launched it. The world was falling apart. Nobody knew what was happening. They decided to launch this quiz. And get this, and these numbers are going to sound like an exaggeration. They're actually the real numbers. They generated 1,018,000 email subscribers in less than 10 days. 1 million people onto their email list in less than 10 days at a cost of 26 cents per lead, and they made a 400% return on an investment on that spend. So you can do the math. You say, wait, 4 times 26 cents. Yeah, they made over $1 million in the middle of COVID-19 in less than a month on the back of their quiz funnel. So incredibly high volume. Reason number 3, incredibly valuable data. So if you look at the companies that are most valuable today in our generation, companies like Google and Facebook and Amazon, one of the reasons why they're so valuable is because all the data they have on us, like they know everything, right? Yeah. So how does a small business owner like you or I, how do we compete in that type of world? Well, a quiz funnel is a way to capture an incredible amount of data, not just a person's name and email, but when you know all the answers to their quiz questions, you can capture that data, you can put it into your email program, into your database, and it's an asset that you've created for your business. Now, this asset is very valuable. So if at some point down the road you've ever thought, maybe I might want to sell my business for a bunch of money, this is an asset that can increase the value of your company by over 100x. And I'll give you an example of this. So there's a little company called Revolution Golf, and they help people in the golf space. They teach people how to play golf online. And they launched a quiz funnel. What's your number 1 swing killer? Take this quiz to find out the number 1 mistake you're making in your golf swing. They launched this quiz funnel, had about a dozen questions in this quiz, and they got over 2.1 million people to take this quiz. Fast forward a few years later, they get a call on the phone one day from a little company called NBC, as in the entertainment network. NBC reached out to them, made an offer to buy their company for over $20 million, and they transformed it into something that's now called NBC Golf Pass, which is their kind of golf education platform, which is a joint venture between NBC and the Golf Channel. So there's an incredible amount of value that you can create with this data. So that's reason number 3. Reason number 4, it's not just about leads, guys. You can also have incredibly high conversion on the back of a quiz funnel. And when I say conversion, I mean sales conversion. Oftentimes people are able to double or even triple their sales conversion on the back of a quiz funnel. And the reason for that is because you're able, like I mentioned earlier, to customize your sales copy, the videos that you put in front of people, the content, the case studies, the stories, everything. Your whole message can be customized based on a person's answers to their quiz. Again, I'll give you an example. Andy Mackinson has a company called Snack Nation. It's an e-com company, and they deliver a curated box of healthy snacks that gets mailed to your house or to your office. And so they were selling using a traditional e-commerce funnel, and they decided to test a quiz funnel side by side. So for 3 months, they ran an A/B split test. They tested a quiz funnel versus their traditional funnel. And get this, the quiz funnel tripled their revenue.
Wow.
Tripled their revenue compared to their kind of standard e-commerce funnel. So they decided to switch everything to the quiz funnel. In the process, they grew their business from $8 million a year to $24.2 million a year, landed on the Inc. 500 list as a result of the fastest growing companies in America at number 24 on that list, and they haven't looked back since. So incredibly high conversion rate is number 4. Yeah. But the final reason number 5, which is what I think is most important, is this is one of these strategies that you can feel really good about implementing in your business, because not only do you better sell, but you also better serve your market. Now, of course, you win, right? When you're able to cut your cost per lead by 90%, grow your audience by 10 to 80 times, double or triple your sales conversion rate, like that's all great for you. But it's one of these strategies that you can go to bed at night and feel good about yourself, knowing that you're also serving your market at the highest level because you're taking the time to ask a few questions to understand that person's situation so you can recommend the best resource for them. Instead of trying to sell in a one-size-fits-all way or just, jamming a product down people's throats saying buy, 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 you're
Yep.
taking a much more consultative approach. And so your market wins and you win as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love how specific you're going as well. I knew you would go. You love data and stuff like that, just as I do here. So, and it's as you said, it's about building also an email list of buyers and getting the conversion rate. They're not just building a large email list. So I'm glad you mentioned that as well here and showed some kind of proof that it works. But like, I mean, you kind of mentioned a few different groups of people here. So maybe the next question people might have: can this work for me? Isn't this like technical? Isn't this just for people with a seasoned business already? So who can this work for? Who is Quiz Funnels for? Can anyone use this, Ryan?
Yeah, so let me give you a bunch of examples. So if you sell digital products, so like courses, memberships, any sort of online training, books, ebooks, anything that's sort of like digital products. I'll give you a few examples. Alexis Fedor, she is in the art space. She created something called the Art Marketing Type. So take this quiz to find out what your art marketing type is, geared toward artists. She grew her business from nothing to 6 figures in less than 7 months on the back of this quiz. If you sell high ticket, like you sell coaching, consulting, agency services, if you're a freelancer, if you sell something that's in the tens of thousands of dollars or more, Morgan Gist McDonald created something called a publishing path quiz. And so Morgan helps aspiring authors get their books published. And on the back of her publishing path quiz funnel, she sells a $15,000 high ticket consulting package on the back of that. If you are a local business, if you have like a local business, Mitch Wilder created something called What's Your Dream Home Quiz. And he's in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, and he generates real estate leads. So people who want to buy a home in Michigan. So he created this little quiz. He spent $1,500, $1,550 on his quiz traffic. And this just recently happened. Got 382 leads and made an immediate $50,000 sales commission in less than 24 hours after launching his quiz. And he's got 380 leads that he's now reaching out to transform into buyers and sellers and customers. So he's going to make an absolute killing on the back of this. If you are in the e-commerce space, I mentioned Andy and Snack Nation. I mentioned another company. Buck Risby owns a supplement company called Real Dose Nutrition. They launched a quiz called the Weight Loss Type Quiz. Take this quiz to find out what your weight loss type is. Are you type A, type I, type G, or type C? Take the quiz to find out now. They make over $7,350 a day in supplement sales on the back of this quiz funnel. If you are just getting started, if you're like a total beginner, you're like, wait, like, how do I do this? There's a couple examples that come to mind. Jamal Miller is in the Christian singles market. So he helps Christian singles find the one. He created a quiz, Why Are You Still Single? Take the quiz to find out now. And he launched his business, generated over 10,000 leads in less than 14 days, brand new business that he launched from scratch at a cost per lead of less than 11 cents per lead. He took that 10,000 person list that he built out of nowhere and he launched a membership site to them that makes $22,000 a month. So he went from literally working part-time in a nonprofit making $17 an hour, trying to get his business off the ground, doing the side hustle thing, to building a business that now makes over $500,000 a year on the back of a single quiz. So whether you're just getting started, whether you have an established business, whether you sell physical e-commerce products, digital information products, if you are in client services like coaching, consulting, if you are in a local business like a real estate agency, or Greg Crawford comes to mind. He's a gym owner who has a quiz. Now, the world was falling apart in the middle of COVID-19 and gyms were closing down everywhere. He decided to create a virtual workout sort of program. He launched a quiz funnel. What type of workout is right for you? He makes $11,000 a month in recurring revenue on the back of his quiz funnel for his virtual workout program. So local business, if you do lead generation or list building online, or if you're just a total beginner like Jamal, or gosh, Neil Gordon comes to mind. He's a guy that was driving for Lyft 2 years ago, driving for Lyft, launched a quiz funnel in the speaking space, so helping people become better speakers. And this is crazy to me, he literally just had his first 6-figure month
Some,
earlier this year. So he went from nothing to six figures a month on the
that's so
back of his
cool.
quiz funnel. So, I mean, I
Man.
could go like hundreds of
Yeah,
examples,
man.
but
I mean, this
his
is so cool,
favorite.
actually. I mean, we all remember our first dollar online, and then when we kind of hit, our, maybe the 10K a month level, right? And then six figure a month. I mean, I remember my first one. It feels pretty amazing. And one thing you actually, I think you didn't mention it here, but we talked a little bit before. I think something I'm excited about implementing quiz funnels is in affiliate marketing. Like we do a lot of software reviews and different things, so we can help people pick the right software and potentially course or whatever they want to do, and then we can do a quiz, have it on our website for these, because we drive organic traffic, but we could also potentially drive paid traffic and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited for that, and also implementing something for my flagship program, Virtual Summit Mastery. So lots of opportunity there for sure. And with summits, you can also work on top of summits. I had a student, or she's also in the Ask Method community, and I think she's been in your coaching program, Heather Davis. She's
Oh, sure,
actually,
yeah.
yeah, she hosted just a summit, and she used actually some kind of quiz or a segmentation funnel on top of her summit, and that worked really well. She did over $60,000 in the parenting space for confident kids. Her summit was on that, so really cool during this
Quizzes and
crisis.
summits,
Yeah,
quizzes and summits go together like peanut butter and jelly.
yep,
Because the big challenge with a summit is people want to know, like, what session should I attend,
yep,
right? Take this quiz to find out what the best sessions
uh-huh.
are for you. And then you can recommend and curate the best experience for people. So they go together like peanut butter and jelly, incredibly powerful combination.
Awesome. And yeah, you also talk about something, but why they are so powerful, like the power of self-discovery. That's kind of
Yeah.
people want to, learn about themselves. Can you briefly talk? You've talked about this before, I think, but this is like so powerful. If people just need to get that, they want to learn about themselves. That's kind of the most important subject, right? So can you get into
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Yeah, so we've talked a little bit about kind of, why quizzes are worth considering, but we haven't really talked about, like, why are they so effective? Like,
Yeah.
what's sort of the underlying reason behind their effectiveness? And, so my background, for anyone not familiar, like what I studied in school, I studied neuroscience in school. So my background is in neuroscience. I studied neuroscience at the Ivy League level. At one point in my life, I thought I was going to be going into medicine. My college roommate, my best friend, he's a neurologist at the Mayo Clinic, and I disappointed my parents by going into business instead. So I say that because I'm a sort of a geek for the psychology and the neuroscience behind kind of why all this works so well. And so there's a few forces at play. There are three forces that I want to talk about now that make this strategy so effective. And you touched on the first one, which is what we call the power of self-discovery. And there's this interesting psychology that it doesn't really matter what market you're in. It doesn't matter if you are in the golf market, the art market, if you're in the summit market. It doesn't really matter what you're in. The thing that people care more about than anything else is themselves. And this is evidenced by the fact that if you ask a group of people, which is something I'll often do if I'm speaking on stages, I'll say, show of hands. Raise your hand if you've taken any one of the following personality tests. And I'll put them out there. Say, Myers-Briggs, Colby assessment, the DISC profile, a StrengthsFinders test, Enneagram, like the list goes on. I'll say, raise your hand if you've taken at least one.
Yeah.
And inevitably, everyone in the room will raise their hand. And I'll say, keep your hand up if you've taken at least two, at least three, at least four, at least five. And I'll say, look around the room. And you have about 85% of the hands still up. Yep. And I'll say, you think your market's any different? That your market doesn't take quizzes? Well, the reality is we're obsessed with learning about ourselves, discovering something about ourselves. And we can offer the promise to teach someone something about themselves, discover what your parenting style tends to be, discover your relationship type, discover your number one golf swing killer, discover your platform score. What's the level of growth you've had in your platform? So it's an incredibly powerful promise that's universal no matter what market you're in when you offer someone the opportunity to discover something about themselves. So that's force number one. Force number two is what we call the power of micro commitments. And what that means is this. Whenever you ask someone to take any step on your website, whether it's buy a product or enter their name and email, the human brain perceives that step as a threat, right? I don't know who you are. I don't know if I want to give you my email address. Do I trust you? Like, who are you? And so what happens is when you do that, you elicit the fear response in people's brains. You elicit the fear response in the limbic system, technically the amygdala structure in the brain, where that fight or flight response is housed. Now, what's interesting about that is when you understand the psychology of fear, you understand that there's a way to hack that response. And the way you hack the fear response in someone's brain is you shrink the size of the step you're asking someone to take so that it's so small, it's literally impossible for them to fail. Now, the way you translate that, the way you execute that on your website is by simply asking people, instead of opting into your email list, beginning with a simple, easy to answer, non-threatening question. Are you A or B? First question, golfers, are you a left-handed golfer or a right-handed golfer? Business owners, are you starting a new business or growing your existing business? And you see, when you start by asking a simple, easy to answer, non-threatening question like this, you're taking advantage of the power of micro commitments, asking people to kind of dip their toe, step on the first stepping stone before taking the next step and the next step and the step after that. Now, when you do that, before you know it, you've built up this action-taking momentum. You've generated sort of this consistency and commitment where people are so vested in the process that they say, of course I'm going to take the next step. Of course I'm going to opt into your email list. Of course I'm going to do business with you. And they go from dipping their toe in the water to jumping in the swimming pool with you and becoming your customer and your client. So power of micro commitments, number 2. And the third one is what I call attract, diagnose, prescribe. See, quizzes are incredibly attractive. You attract people because of their promise. It drives a lot of curiosity and desire. But quizzes also give you the ability to diagnose a person's situation, just like a doctor, so that you can prescribe the right next step for them. Now, when you combine these 3 psychological forces together, quizzes become an incredibly effective tool for taking someone from not knowing who you are to becoming your customer or your client immediately after taking the quiz.
Yeah, awesome. This is great. So now people know quizzes are incredibly powerful. If you didn't know it before, now at least you should consider this at least. And just want to mention this again, Ryan is hosting a really amazing workshop. So you can go always to navid.me/quizfunnel, and then you can get even more details there. But Ryan, I want to get into a little bit how you actually create this quiz funnel. Give people some steps they need to take. Now they know it's powerful, but how do you actually do this? Where do you start even in this process? It sounds a little bit daunting to people, like the technology and everything that goes in there. What should you do the first step to take in this process?
Let's talk about the first step.
Yeah.
The first step all comes down to coming up with the hook, the big idea behind your quiz. So what's this quiz going to be about? One of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to creating a quiz is they come up with the wrong hook, the wrong big idea behind their quiz. And simply put, the wrong hook is going to attract the wrong type of people into your quiz funnel. Remember, this isn't one of these time-wasting quizzes that you might find on BuzzFeed, like what type of pizza is your dog? Take the quiz to find out now. That's not what this is about. This is about creating an audience of buyers for your potential products or services. So you have to come up with the right hook. And there are 3 frameworks to choose from. So a great next step, in fact, anyone watching this or listening to this right now, like we can do this in real time, and I'm going to encourage you to play along with us. I'm going to give you 3 frameworks that you can use when it comes to creating a quiz funnel. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to identify which of these 3 frameworks do you think makes the most sense for you and your business. So the first one is what we call a type framework. Type framework taps into what we call the psychology of categorical perception. And it's a fancy word for basically saying this. Human beings, the way we make sense of the world is we put things into buckets. If you look at something like colors exist on an infinite spectrum, right? You look at the rainbow, there's an infinite number of colors, but our brain doesn't see colors as an infinite spectrum. We see colors as being distinct buckets. So we say, is it blue like your background? Is it gray like my shirt? Is it green like the painting here behind me? Like our brain sees colors in different buckets. That's how we make sense of the world. What's interesting is the same thing is true for ourselves. Even though we know, like, every human being on this planet is a unique individual who is different and distinct from everybody else, we make sense of the world by wanting to know what bucket do we fall into. Myers-Briggs, what's my type? Am I an INTJ or am I an ENTP? I want to know where I fit inside the world. Is this person a friend? Is this person a colleague? Is this person a family member? What bucket do they fall into? So this underscores the power of what we call a type quiz. A type quiz is like our mutual friend Amy Porterfield. She has a quiz funnel that we created together called What Type of Online Course is Right for You? There are 7 types of online courses, and they're all a little bit different. Take this quiz to find out which online course type is right for you and your business. So that's a type quiz. Second framework is what we call a killer quiz. A killer quiz is where you help people identify a mistake that they're making in their life that's holding them back from getting the result that they want to get in the area of their life that you help them with. So if it's weight loss, it would be a weight loss mistake. If it's growing your business, it would be a business mistake. The psychology on this one taps into the power of what we call loss aversion, which basically means that the fear of loss is infinitely more powerful than the promise of gain. And I'll illustrate this with an example. So imagine for a moment, I'm a parent. I've got 2 young kids, so I always think of parenting things. So imagine for a moment you're a parent and you are browsing on Facebook and you see an ad on Facebook. And the ad says, "Attention parents, how to raise a well-adjusted child who will become a contributing member of society. Click the link below to find out more." That's headline number 1. Headline number 2, "Attention parents, the 5 biggest mistakes that parents make that screw their kids up for life. Take the link below, click the link below to find out more." Which one are you going to click on, right? If you're like most people, like it's obvious, it's number 2, right? Yep. And the reason for that is this psychology. So I'll give you an example of a killer quiz. Charlie Wallace is in the guitar space, and he has a quiz called the Guitar Progress Killers Quiz. Take this quiz to find out what mistake you're making playing the guitar, and I'll identify what that mistake is and help you get to the next level. Now, on the back of this quiz funnel, Charlie had a small little business making about $12,000 a month, which for many people is like amazing, right? $12,000 a month in his business before the quiz funnel. After he implemented the quiz funnel in his business, he took his business to $2.2 million per year. And it gets better. He did it part-time. And he used the money that he made from his business to pursue his dream to become a touring musician around the world. And check it out. I'm like such a proud like older brother here. Wow. He used the money to launch his debut record, his debut album, which I have a nice signed first edition copy here, which landed on the Billboard charts at number 13 of the best-selling albums.
That's crazy. That's amazing. And I have actually met him before I think at your event or something. So I know who he's talking about. He's great, great success story.
He's a guy from New Zealand. I mean, he's like the best guy in the world. Yeah. But the point is this, he built a quiz funnel and it allowed him to pursue his passion. It allowed him to, he's making money every single day through this funnel that he's built, and it's allowed him to pursue his passion, travel the world as a touring rock musician, and his business just continues to run in the background. So that's an example of a killer quiz. Last one is what we call a score quiz. A score quiz is one where you identify the gap between where people are right now and where they want to be. The psychology that this taps into is what we call comparative psychology. And basically, again, to help us make sense of the world, we are constantly comparing ourselves against other people and against ourselves. We say things like, man, in our brain, I should be making more money than I'm making right now. Or why did I gain weight? Like I need to go back to the weight that I was, 5-10 years ago. Or how is it that she's more successful than I am? We're constantly comparing ourselves against other people. So a score test taps into that psychology that we have, wanting to know how do we stack up against where we should be. An example of this in action is something called the real age test. If you're not familiar, the real age test was popularized by Dr. Oz in America a number of years ago. And it's a test that you can take online, and it's free, where you can identify your birth certificate might say that you're 35 years old or 45 years old or 55 years old or whatever. But how old is your body? Do you have the body of a 35-year-old or the body of a 41-year-old? Take this test to find out now. Now, here's a crazy bit. Want to know how many people have taken this test online? Over 40 million people. Imagine for a moment you log into your email account and instead of saying whatever number it says right now, you rub your eyes and you say, wait, is that real? It says 40 million contact records, and not just name and email, but over 20 data points about each of these individuals, like whether they have pain in their feet, back pain, joint pain, whether they have issues with vision, hair loss. Imagine even in affiliate marketing, what you'd be able to do knowing the challenges that someone's running into and the products that you'd be able to introduce them to based on that information. So 3 frameworks: type, killer, score. The first step is to start brainstorming ideas around each of those three frameworks. Which framework is right for you? So that's a great first step to kind of get the creative juices flowing and thinking about like, all right, what might your quiz be about?
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think if you don't have an audience yet, it's the first to do, like, I mean, you talk a lot about that in your book, Ask, obviously, and in your Ask Method program. But I would, like, is that you really do this survey to your list if you have it? If you don't have a list, what do you do? Like, you talk about what's your single biggest challenge or struggle when it comes to blank being your topic or whatever you want to talk about. So can you walk us through how someone, a newbie, would essentially do this if they don't have an audience yet, so they know what kind of, they might not even have a product or anything yet to sell? So I think that would
Great.
be a
So
question to get from a lot of
it's a great,
people.
it's a great question. If you're like totally starting from
Yeah.
scratch and you're saying, gosh, I don't even know what my quiz should be about. Like, what topics are people actually interested in? Well, I'll give you a few things that you can do. So number one, when you have a specific topic that you're thinking about, let's call it, losing weight, for example. The first thing that you want to do is start joining groups online of people who are trying to solve that specific problem or address that specific conflict. So you go to Facebook and you type in weight loss group. You go to Google and you type in weight loss forum. You go to places like LinkedIn and see if there are any weight loss groups on LinkedIn. You can check out places like meetup.com, where people actually use Meetup as a place to find virtual groups of people. You can use websites like Quora and find out what sort of communities exist online, or even Reddit to see what sort of groups exist. So you go online and you find these groups of people, and then it's just a matter of joining these groups and looking at what are the challenges that people are kind of writing about and posting about and sharing as a great starting point. And the best part about that is you don't need any sort of audience, you don't need any sort of experience, and it's free to join these groups. And so you're going to find gold in there. And what you're looking for are the conversations and the threads that get the most engagement, the ones that have the most responses, the ones that have kind of the deepest, longest, most passionate answers that are there. And that gives you a starting point to find some ideas around what your quiz topic might be about. For example, right now in the weight loss space, at the time of this recording, a hot topic that everybody's talking about is keto. Like, everyone wants to know about keto. So take the keto quiz. Is keto right for you? Take the quiz to find out more. That's just like, a kind of off the top of our head example for what you might be able to find with no experience, no audience, no list in a brand new market.
For sure. And how would you drive traffic? What's some great traffic sources for someone starting out, or whether you have a business or not right now, to drive traffic to your quiz funnel?
There are 5 main traffic sources that work incredibly well. So the first traffic source is Facebook. Now, one of the reasons why Facebook works so well is because quizzes are incredibly shareable. People will take a quiz, and if it's done well, they'll share it with their friends. And so there's 2 benefits to this. Number one, when someone takes your quiz and they share it on a platform like Facebook, it starts going viral. People share it with one friend, they share it with 2 friends, and before you know it, it's being shared all over the place. That's number one. Number 2, if you're driving paid advertising on Facebook, Facebook rewards you for all that engagement. They say, great, this is content that people are loving. Let's drive the cost of this advertising to be very, very cheap. And that's one of the reasons why people are able to get like 11-cent leads and 20-cent leads on the back of a quiz funnel because of this. So Facebook, number one. Number 2, Instagram, for a lot of the same reasons. It's very shareable. People are scrolling, they'll take a quiz, they'll share it with their friends, and it's a perfect social engagement strategy. Number 3, YouTube, which you do better than almost anyone that I know. Like, YouTube is a great traffic source. You can think, for example, of a local dentist who has a quiz funnel, and she has a YouTube video, and she says, hey, it's Dr. Smith. I'll just make up her name. Hey, it's Dr. Smith here. And one of the biggest questions people ask is Invisalign right for me? Well, I've put together a free quiz called the Invisalign quiz. Click the link below to take the quiz, and I'll see you on the other side. So it's just a great kind of involvement mechanism to take people from a video where they get to know you and your business a little bit more, and then drive people to the quiz. So YouTube, incredibly effective, both free YouTube traffic and paid YouTube traffic. That's number 3. Number 4 is Google. Like, imagine anything. So some of the things that you do. What email service provider is right? Imagine someone going to Google and typing in best email service provider, or best backpack for travelers, or best iPhone case, or whatever it is that you sell. There's no more effective way to address that person than to say, free quiz. Take this quiz to find out what backpack is right for you, what email service provider is right for you. So Google is an incredibly effective traffic source. And number 5, for anybody who's in the B2B space, if you sell to other businesses, LinkedIn is incredibly effective. Now, I'm going to give you a pro tip. If you're in a B2B space and you want to take your quiz to the next level, reposition it as an assessment. Calling your quiz funnel an assessment adds a level of gravitas, a level of professionalism to it, which makes it taken much more seriously than if you just call it a quiz. So those are the 5 traffic sources, and all of which are incredibly effective.
Love it. And I'm sure this works both organic and paid. I mean, one of the best traffic sources, obviously, for quiz funnels, that's paid traffic. That's kind of your secret sauce a lot of the times to drive to your funnels and stuff. And we actually, if you stick around, we're going to show you a little bit behind the scenes of one of Ryan's funnel. But before we get into that, what's some mistakes people make when it comes to creating quiz funnels in the first place? I'm sure you've seen quite a lot, whether that's with the tools or kind of the strategy people implement and stuff like that.
Totally. So 5 mistakes. I'll go through them rapid fire.
Yep.
So mistake number 1 is the wrong hook. And we talked a little bit about that, right? The wrong hook attracts the wrong type of person, and you want to attract the right type of person in the first place to take your quiz. Wrong hook's number 1. Number 2, wrong offer. You've got to sell the right type of product on the back of your quiz to be successful. And there's a framework that I teach called Band-Aid Cure, and it looks like this. When someone takes your quiz, you want to offer the free quiz results, the quiz results for free, which is sort of like the Band-Aid. You give them a bit of the Band-Aid. But then you want to transition to your paid product, which is the cure. Band-Aid Cure. So people aren't walking around just like kids. Again, I'm a parent, so I've got young kids, and so kids are always on my mind. If you are a parent or you're an adult and you're watching a small kid who's riding around outside on their bike, they're riding around, and then they fall off the bike, and then they skin their knee, they run inside. What do they say? They say, "Mommy, I need a Band-Aid," right? Now, you know, mommy or daddy, that the Band-Aid's not going to make the pain go away, but you've got to meet the kid where he's at. You've got to get on one knee and you say, "Okay, sweetie, let me put a Band-Aid on. We're going to make it feel all better." But then once the tears have kind of dried up and the child's calmed down, you've got to say, "But if we really want to make this go away, if we really want to make the pain go away, we're going to have to put some ice on it. Or we're going to need some Neosporin. Or you're going to have to take a little bit of medicine to make it feel better." Now, you know that the cure is what your child needs. And in this example, this metaphor, your market is very similar. Your market isn't walking around thinking they need your cure. Your market is walking around thinking they need the Band-Aid. They think the Band-Aid is going to make the pain go away. But the reality is, you know that they need your cure. So you introduce the Band-Aid for free in the form of the quiz results. And then the cure, your paid product, is what's for money. So you need this Band-Aid cure dynamic after someone takes your quiz. So wrong offer is number 2. Number 3, wrong questions. The questions in a quiz funnel need to create demand and desire for the product that you're selling. It's like taking people down the sales path. So the questions need to be strategic. Number 4 is the wrong process. You've got to have the right process to build one of these quizzes. Now, the order in which you build these elements is not necessarily in the order in which someone actually takes the quiz. Most people think, okay, great, so I start building, I create the landing page first, and then I come up with the question number 1, and then no. The secret is this. You start with the reverse in mind. You begin with the end in mind. You begin first with your offer. What is it that you're going to sell? And how do we build a staircase that's going to walk people directly to that offer? Otherwise, if you start with the beginning, you can build a staircase that leads to nowhere, and that doesn't serve you. So that's number 4. Number 5, the last bit, is the wrong technology. Every single one of the examples that I shared here today, verbally, the one thing they all have in common is they all use the same technical platform. When it comes to creating a quiz funnel like this, there's a slide that I share when I'm speaking in front of live audiences, and it's a person who has a drill. She's making a hole in her wall, and she's banging the drill with a hammer, and the drill isn't plugged in. And it's an example of right tool, but like wrong job, right? Just like not using the right tool for the job. And I see people make this mistake all the time online. They'll use a survey tool, like a market research survey tool, like a survey gizmo or something like that, to try to create one of these quiz funnels. And it's just not designed for the job. It's great for market research and gathering intelligence and everything like that, but it's not designed to build a marketing quiz funnel. Or they'll use a funnel software that has like a quiz add-on sort of module that try to make a quiz funnel, and it's so limited that they can barely do anything with it. And they let the limitations of that tech sort of dictate their quiz. And so this was a frustration, a pain point for me for years because I've been doing this for almost 15 years now. And so I invested in a technology platform that's called Bucket. Now, Bucket is, again, it's the tool that every single one of these examples that I've shared uses in their business. It's used by over 30 million people worldwide every single year. So we have 30 million people taking one of these quizzes or assessments, which gives us access to an incredible amount of data. We have over 200 million data points that we have. And so with that, we have an AI engine on the background that's allowed us to sort of optimize the best, most successful, highest converting quiz experience for people taking one of these quizzes. And so we've learned things along the way, like the optimal number of questions, the optimal question length, the optimal number of options, sort of like to get the highest converting, best performing quiz funnel. So the wrong technology is the fifth big mistake.
Awesome. And that brings us kind of to the next thing. I wanted to show people one of your quizzes, Ryan, and that's for the Choose quiz. So I think if you can go to choosequiz.com/Navid, then you can actually check that out in real time or just follow along here. So we're going to kind of share this for you. So this is basically the landing page. This is a regular landing page, but when you click here, that's kind of when the secret sauce happens. And then when this opens up, this is Ryan's software bucket, and this is, you can customize this however you want, I guess. So because this doesn't look like everyone else.
You can make it look however you want. And in fact, we just at the time of this of releasing our second generation Bucket 2.0 enterprise level software, which allows you to build any sort of page that you want, full drag and drop builder. So you can build like the page that you just saw, basically any page that you want, pre-quiz, post-quiz. It has a Canvas style builder, so you can kind of lay everything out in a lucid chart style sort of fashion. But let's take a look at this quiz right here. You can see question number 1. This is an easy to answer, what we call a grease the wheels question. Are you thinking about starting a brand new business or an extension of an existing business? And if you click on that, just say brand new business. When it comes to financing your business, which of the five best describes your situation? Are you funding it yourself, funding it with a little bit of help, or have you raised millions of dollars? And you kind of click on the first answer there. And it takes people down this path of answering a series of questions to help determine what type of business is right for you. What type of business should you start? And it's an assessment to help people identify what business model makes the most sense for you based on things like your personality, things like your goals, things like your experience level. And there are 16 possible outcomes, 16 possibilities. And if we just kind of keep clicking through, just keep clicking through on the top.
Clicked through. Actually, I did sign up already here. So I have signed up now. So people can see, now we're on the last page where you ask for the email here. So
that's for the email. Your result type is, and what does yours say in front of you?
Let me see. What type of business should you start? And then the next thing is here. I just clicked kind of the first one, MBCF.
MBCF. What does MBCF mean, right? There's a ton of curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, what is
a ton of curiosity. I have no idea, actually.
Enter your email address to get a custom report, which gets emailed to people, plus a video. So if you just type in any email address, will do, just to take people through. And then you click that continue button,
and then pause. And you have your book there as well, so people. I mean, that's cool. People, I mean, whether or not you're interested in that, it's always good to see kind of how it works, and that's why I wanted to show this here, so you can actually get, from the man himself here, Ryan Levesque, you can actually see how it works. Like his, all these data points and stuff that I didn't even know that you had so many people now taking these quizzes every single year via Bucket. So that's amazing. So congrats on that, man.
Cool, man. No, I appreciate it. And, you see here, are you on the outcome page now?
Yeah, I'm on the last page here. Yeah, I'm on the last outcome page, yeah.
So you see here, it's a very simple page. There's a, your result is MBCF. Here's what that means. And there's a video that takes place. And if you try to exit that page, just don't click out, but just kind of go to do an exit intent.
Oh, yeah, I saw that now. Share this quiz with your friends.
Yeah, so close that out. So that there's a share thing, but if you just close that out, you'll see at the bottom, there's an offer in this case for a physical book.
Yep.
And just to kind of put things in perspective, just this one quiz alone, simple quiz funnel that you've seen right here, this was one quiz alone. We've done over in the last 3 or so months at the time of this recording, about 164,000 people have taken this quiz. So 164,000 email subscribers that we've added to our list. We've generated over 32,000 new customers. So 32,000 people have bought from us through this assessment that you see right here. And we've made over $1.1 million just on initial product sales and one-click upsells on the back of this funnel right here. So
Yeah.
you can see just the power of one quiz funnel like this can transform your entire business.
Yeah.
And so hopefully seeing an example like this in action gets you a little bit excited about building a quiz funnel for your business.
Absolutely, and that brings me kind of to the thing. So I let you talk a little bit about what people can expect if they go and sign up for your quiz funnel workshop, which you can go to navid.me/quiz funnel, and then you can, I'm sure if Ryan is going to use some kind of quiz for that as well to get you to sign up. But I let him talk a little bit about it.
We'll see.
You'll see. You'll see if you go there. You can go through that as well, obviously. But Ryan, what can people expect from this?
Yeah. So this is a once a year thing. I do this once a year. It's a week long, totally free quiz funnel workshop. And we're going to go through the process of creating one of these quiz funnels from start to finish. And you're going to get access to dozens of examples. I know we shared one quick example here, but we go through dozens of examples. You can see real life quizzes in the wild, so that you can learn from other people's experience. So that's number one. Number two, we have a quiz template that you get access to for every type of situation. So think of an e-commerce quiz template, an information product quiz template, an affiliate marketing quiz template, and so on and so forth. You get access to my step-by-step quiz funnel blueprint. So if you kind of like sort of mind maps, like outlining the whole process from start to finish, you're going to get access to that entire blueprint. And we're going to come up with your quiz. Like we're going to, like in real time, you're going to have an opportunity to get, to come up with your quiz during the workshop. And again, it happens once a year, week-long workshop. It's totally free. So if you're watching this right now, your timing is it's perfect to be participating in this. And like Naveed said, the link that we have set up for you to join, I believe, is naveed.me/quiz funnel is the link. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And I'm really excited myself to implement some of this. As I said during this session, I've been a student of Ryan's material, and I've been in his Ask About the Masterclass program and other things. And now he's going even deeper into quiz funnels, that he has actually never had something around this specifically before. Now he's going even deeper around this in this format where you can learn online. He had something in person before where you had to spend a lot of money to come and learn. And now at the time you're recording this is not really a time for doing that. So learning online in a virtual setting is the best. So I do recommend you go there. I'm going to be signing up myself and going through this and, working with Ryan's team and stuff and coming up with some awesome quiz funnels for my business, for affiliate marketing and for, Virtual Summit Mastery, which is our flagship program. So highly recommend you go and sign up, navid.me/quiz funnel. And I can't wait to see you there. Do you have any final words, Ryan, before we kind of wrap this one up here?
No, the only thing that I would say is this. It's a piece of advice I share with all of our students. And remember, you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it going. And the best time to get it going is right here, right now, today. So take just one thing that we've covered here in this interview and use that as your micro commitment and get started here today. And the best thing to do is to join us inside this workshop. And I can't wait to have you part of it.
Awesome, Ryan. Thanks so much for coming on here. Go to navid.me/quiz funnel and I'll see you there. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.